What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another great video here. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you exactly how you can use Finviz.com to scan for penny stocks. The scanner I'm going to show you will also, you can use it to scan for higher price stocks, but in this video particularly, we're going to be focusing on the penny stock aspect of this scanner. So before we jump into it, I want to let you know that this particular scanner that we're using on Finviz is not a scanner that you're going to use in the middle of the trading day. This is not a high-day momentum scanner. This is not a Momo scanner. This is not going to find you stocks that are breaking out right now. This is a stock scanner that you're going to use with Finviz, and it's a scanner that you primarily want to use after the market closes, okay? And I'm going to go into more detail why it would be used after hours, but just to wrap it up, this is a scanner that is going to be used when the market closes, and you're going to be scanning for penny stocks based on the criteria I'm going to show you, and this is going to help you find penny stocks that may have potential to continue running up the next day, or help you find penny stocks that may be in their early stages before they have those really big run-ups, okay? Now, I'm not telling you that this scanner is going to necessarily find you these amazing penny stocks that run up, 200-300% the next day or in 2 days, right? It's still going to be your job to take the penny stocks or the stocks that this scanner provides. You will then have to put them on a watch list, and you're going to have to monitor them, right? And if at some point you see that some of these penny stocks that you now have on your watch list after using the scanner are starting to develop into nice patterns, or you're starting to see volume start to pick up after the coming days, right? You're still going to have to monitor them and analyze them and see the value for yourself on whether or not it's a valuable stock to buy or trade on any given day. So the scanner, to wrap it up, is a scanner you're going to use in after markets trading when the market closes, that can help you find stocks that may be in their early stages before they get pumped up, or stocks that may continue running the next day. So let's focus on the screen here. So first things first, you need to go to finviz.com. You're going to go to the screener section, which is right here. So let's click that, right? Let me pull this up real fast. There we go. So you're going to go to the screener section. Then from here, what you're going to want to do is just click all, because you're just going to be following on this video. So just make sure you click all. We'll go here, and this scanner is so simple, it might actually blow your mind. But a lot of people think that developing a scanner is all about punching in these crazy numbers and percentages, and that's how you're going to find these perfect stocks to trade, when in reality, that's not the case. If you think you're going to get the most perfect trades by using a scanner, that's not the case. Really, it comes down to is scanners help you find stocks, and then it's 90% your job to identify the value before buying. Scanners are only 10% of the work. But let's get into it. So first thing, you want to go to price, right? So you're going to want to go down here. So I'm going to map off what we're going to work on here. So the inputs we're going to use are going to be, oh, that doesn't work good. Let's do red. All right, so what we're going to use here is price. We're going to use that one, price. We're going to use relative volume, which is right there. And then we're also going to use change, which can also be commonly known as percent change. So those are the three categories we're going to use. Only three. They can help you find some really good penny stocks. So we'll start punching in that criteria that we're referring to. All right, so again, first one is going to be price. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to punch in price. And if you're not familiar, you may be new to penny stocks, new to the trading world. A penny stock does not have to be 2 cents. It doesn't have to be 20 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents to be considered a penny stock. It's kind of a catch-22, but a penny stock is anything priced below $5. If you want to use the scanner to find stocks that are $10, $15, $20, $30, you can do that as well. But in this particular video, we're aiming it more towards the aspect of penny stocks. So since this video is revolving around finding penny stocks, we're going to want to input $5, under $5, because penny stocks are anything priced under $5. Okay, so let's see what we're pulling up here. All right, so as you can see, if you look here, and I'll show you right here, right now we have a total of 953 stocks that we could potentially look for that are priced under $5. So right now, this scanner is telling us for all the stocks priced under $5, there's 953 available options that we could look through. Nobody has time to go through 953 stocks on any given day. On any given month, that's a waste of time. We don't have that much time. So we gotta thin it out. We gotta scale it down to something that's manageable. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to relative volume, which is this guy right here. And we're going to input a relative volume of 2 over 2. So you may be asking, why are we using relative volume? If you want to do some more research after this video, feel free to do so. I'm going to give you a short description of why and what relative volume is. The reason, or what should I say, relative volume, ideally, to make it very simple, relative volume, when you're putting it in a scanner, it's basically saying that you're scanning for stocks that are trading on 2 times their normal rate right now. So relative volume of 2 means we are now scanning for stocks, right? So now we're scanning for stocks under $5 that have a relative volume of 2. In other words, that are now trading 2 times more than their relative volume. Does that make sense? Now they're trading 2 times more than their relative volume or regular volume, okay? And the reason we do that is because we want to know what's kind of trending now, what's becoming a little bit more hot, what are maybe people starting to talk about. And the way you find that is by scanning for stocks that are essentially picking up in popularity, which in other words could be scanning for stocks with a relative volume of greater than 2, at least 2 times. That's what that's saying. Not only 2, we're going to scan for stocks that have at least 2 times their regular volume, essentially relative volume. So some of these stocks that it's picking up could be trading 5 times their relative volume, but what we're doing is inputting at least 2 times their relative volume, all right? Then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to use percent change. It just says change, but ideally we refer to percent change, right? And we're going to input this as up 5%. And that's it. That's all you need. Now, why would we do up 5%? To give you a short little description on the percent change and why we're doing this is because, think about it this way. If you're trying to find a stock that may be good to trade, that might be trending up, right? Let me put it that way. If you're going to trade a stock and you're trying to find something trending up, chances are that stock would have closed green on the day, or it would have closed on a positive day, which means it has to at least be up by a couple percent. So you could scan for 2%, you could scan for 3%, but if you scan for 2%, 1%, 3%, that means that the stock only really went up a little bit that day. So, that could be any random fluctuation in price movement on any stock, right? Any stock can really go up 1%, 2% in a day, but that doesn't really tell us anything significant, right? So by scanning for stocks that are at least up 5%, that's already telling us that those stocks that the scanner's picking up had a relatively good trading day. They're up 5%, that's good. And again, that's at least 5%. These stocks could be up 50, 60, 70, even 100%. We're just saying, give us all the stocks that are at least up 5% on the day, all right? And another thing to point that is, the thing we say in trading is a green day is a good day. As long as we're green, that's good. And that kind of runs into the up 5%, if it's up 5% and it closed, that's a good day, right? So let's try and look at those particular stocks. So now that we have all of our inputs, look at what happened to our total. Just those 3 categories have brought us down to a total of only 22 stocks to trade, 22 stocks to look at. So that's manageable, right? That is something we can digest. That's something that we could easily start looking over, all right? So next thing I do here is I'm going to actually bring up some stock charts. We'll do this one right here. Here we go. So now I'm going to show you guys, we're going to run through a few of these stocks and kind of just point out what it is we're looking for, okay? Now this is a particular scanner that you run in essentially usually when the market closes. So some of these inputs I'm getting may be a little bit different than you would normally find towards the end of the day, but that's okay. We're going to give you the gist of what it is we're looking for here. All right, so and I'm going to scale this down to 1 chart. Oop, nope. There we go. All right, so let's scale it down. And we're going to start going down the list from top to bottom here and show you kind of what it is we're looking for. So APDN is the first one here. Okay, this is garbage, right? That really doesn't, that's nothing, right? We don't necessarily want to trade that. All right, let's go down the next one, AREX. Okay, so yeah, it's still not trading on a lot of volume necessarily. And a lot of times you can tell which stocks aren't trading on volume because their charts are going to look like that. And let me actually pull up a stock chart that's heavily traded and show you the difference. So let's just do something like, we'll just do Tesla or something like that. See, now look at the difference in the charts. Like that's a full chart. You see there's not really many spaces in between the candles, and they're not necessarily all dojis and little hashes. right? And let's go back to the stock chart we just looked at, which was AREX, right? So you can kind of see there's some spacing going on in the chart. So that kind of tells you that it's not necessarily heavily traded, at least right now, okay? But again, a lot of penny stocks before they start running will start on really low volume, and then once news is out and people start hearing about them and start trading them, that's when the charts become more developed and people start trading them, all right? So what are we doing here? We just essentially found a stock that is up more than 5% on the day, and it's starting to move, right? So what are we actually looking for here? And I'm going to go down the chart until I find something that looks a little bit better so we can explain it. Nah, that's okay. CCIH, nah, not that great. CHNR, nah. CNET, okay, not bad. CNET had a run the other day, right? Or actually, this was 2 days. CNET ended up popping up pretty big. So we'll come back to that one maybe. All right, so let me just go speed through this real quick, and I'll come back to exactly what it is we're really looking for. All right, FALC, JOB, JRJC, nah, JRJC, KOL, nah, not really, LODE, possibly. All right, what other ones do we got in here? Gonna start going from the bottom. So PGLC, PFIE. Okay, so nothing too crazy yet really popping up on this particular scan today. So let's use LODE for an example, because I kind of like this, right? And remember how I said penny stocks can start off trading low volume, but then all of a sudden they can pick up and they can start having a lot of volume where the charts really start to develop here. Okay, so earlier I told you guys that this particular scanner can help you find penny stocks that are up on the day that may be in their early stages before they start running really big, or they have already started running and might continue the next day. So let's use LODE for example, right? So, you know, back a couple days ago, there wasn't really any action, but all of a sudden today we started picking up an action, and you'll notice down here, right, the volume's coming in, right? Back over here wasn't really any volume. All of a sudden we're starting to get volume, and now the chart's starting to develop, right? So let's repeat all of that, right? No volume, look at the stock chart. Some volume, stock chart starts to develop a little bit, okay? Now, we'll analyze this fully. Let's go into a 1-year chart, okay? Okay, so 1-year chart, what's it telling us? That clearly this stock, it's just trending down. And occasionally you'll see that it has some days where it spikes, right? It has some spike days. Well, it's possible, and look at all the volume on those days that it does tend to spike. Right now, we're at that similar volume type right now. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to scan and look at all the volume pops and everything like that, but what we're doing here is we're trying to find a penny stock that may be just starting to move, or it already has started moving, and we're trying to see if it might continue up tomorrow, okay? So getting a good idea of this chart here, what I see with LODE is that we've been trending down for a long time, and it's very possible that, you know, if you look at the chart, we were coming down, and I'll actually draw on this. We were coming down like this, then all of a sudden, just recently, we kind of bottomed out. You can see we kind of flatlined. So that may have interested people saying, well, it's time to start going the opposite way, and that's why the volume's coming in. There could be numerous amounts of reasons. It could be news that's starting to drive the price up. We don't necessarily know for sure, right? So let's say we got one stock, LODE. Now let's go back into like the one, we'll do a 5-minute chart here. So what we do know on LODE is that it's been trending down for a long time. We're just now starting to see some volume come in. All right, well, let's look at this 1-minute chart. Well, we know that it's coming up today, right? Let's check the news. That's your next step. Once you find something you maybe think you like, figure out why is it moving. If you're using TD Ameritrade, you can come down to the news tab right here, and you'll start reading. And let's see, today there was a news report. It says resources exercise option the common stock market deposit via blah blah blah. So there was some news on it today. This could be the reason why the stock is starting to move. But that's me coming back to, you know, the scanner tells you only 10%. 90% of the time, it's going to be you analyzing the news, figuring out supports, resistances, and why it's actually moving. And if you come to the conclusion that you think that it might be a good stock to trade the next day, keep it on your watch list, okay? So from here, we're looking at LODE. To me, I'm like, okay, let's see. this thing may continue running up. If it's going to continue running up, we're going to look for a break over 40 cents, or commonly known as a break over the previous high of day. This is today's trading. 40 cents is the high of day. So coming into tomorrow's trading, if you draw this line all the way across, you'll come right at 40 cents. So if LODE is going to continue up tomorrow, it has to break above 40 cents. So that could be your entry price if you wanted to go long on the stock, okay? Something that I didn't tell you previously about this is what we're really doing is we're looking for continuation plays, okay? If you're not familiar with what a continuation play is, it's nothing complicated nor technical. It is exactly how it sounds. Just like don't stop running, continuing to run, right? That's the same kind of concept. What we're looking for is the stock going to continue in the upwards direction tomorrow? So when we say continuation, that means if the stock's been going up, is it going to continue going up the next day? Or if you're looking for continuation to the downside, you'd just be saying, is the stock going to continue to the downside? So right now, since we're looking for continuation plays, we're trying to find stocks that have gone up at least 5% on the day. And when you're looking at these penny stocks, you're looking for them when they close on the day. So when LODE closes the day, we're hoping that it stays relatively close to its high of day. So if the stock goes up today and then it kind of just closes, the market closes and it closes relatively high or close to its high of day, that means it has a pretty good chance to continue up the next day, because it only has to go a little bit before it breaks out of the high of day from yesterday, right? So let me repeat that and put it in a different perspective, right? So this white line is high of day, right? And if we're looking for a continuation play, the probability is much higher that LODE is going to continue up tomorrow, right? It's a higher probability that LODE is going to continue up tomorrow if it closes on the day close to this white line or close to the 40-cent mark. But if LODE went up to 40 cents and then by the time the market closes, it's all the way down to 30 cents right here, there's a less chance that it's going to continue up tomorrow, because if it closes down here, right, if it closed right there, that means it has to go all this way back up to at least even attempt to get through high of day from the previous day, if that makes sense. But if LODE closes on the day right here, that means it only has this little gap, up to the high of day price. So the chances of it continuing are much greater, because it's already basically at the continuation price point buying level. It's when the stock goes up and then it crashes before the end of the day that it's less likely to continue going up, because we already went that high and then we sold off. But if we go that high and then we kind of stay close to that price point, there's a good chance that tomorrow we could see this go up. So what I'm telling you right now is, in fact, that LODE is starting to see volume. It's starting to trend up, right? It's very possible that this thing actually will break out of 40 cents tomorrow and continue running higher, all right? So let's take a step back here, and I want to show you a few stocks that I actually picked up with the scanner the other day, one of which being the stock I. Okay, we picked up I, and this is actually a stock that I mentioned to watch on my pre-market live stream today, and it was primarily from using the scanner I just showed you. I literally used this scanner last night, just playing around with it. And I found the stock I. Look at I. I today has gone up a total of 22%. Remember what I just told you about LODE? I said when you're using the scanner, you're looking for the stocks that are closing basically at their high of day, right? So if you look at the stock chart I from yesterday, this is yesterday where my chart's at, and I'm going to draw these arrows, right? This right here, well, I guess you could say this, or like right here, this was the high of day yesterday. This was the highest price that I had reached yesterday. And if you look at it, it did sure sell down before the end of the day, but it also picked back up right before the end of the day. And look where it closed, right? It closed very close to its high of day, right? And let's get all these off, right? So this yellow line, that's the high of day yesterday for I. Look at the closing price. The closing price is right there. So it's very close to its previous high from yesterday. So this is a stock that you could put on your watch list, say, hey, we're very close, we closed very high. This thing does have a good chance of running tomorrow. Sure enough, it didn't go right away out of the gates and it ended up dipping down and running up the next day. But look what happened. This thing ended up running 22% today. Not to mention, look at, we'll look at it on a 5-day chart. If you were to run this scanner, right? If you ran this scanner 4 days ago, if you were to run this same scanner, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say you did it 5 days ago. If you did it 5 days ago when the price was only $3.38, this would have picked up on your scanner because, this thing is up. It closed up 10%. So if you just ran this scanner 4 or 5 days ago, you would have found it on this day, on this day, on this day, on this day. And what do they all have in common? What do all these days have in common? I'll show you. The price went up and it closed very high. The price went up and it closed basically at its high a day. Price went up and it basically closed at the high a day. And let's see what happened, here. Ooh, continue over. Sorry, let me get this out of the way. All right, price continue up, close at high a day. Next thing you know, price is continuing up and it looks like it's going to close near its high of day. So this one, even so, may have the possibility of continuing up tomorrow. Now, of course, there's still many other things that go into it because, if you're like, oh, well, the stock I might continue up tomorrow based on what I'm saying. Well, that's true, it could, but you still have to do your due diligence and you have to do some research. Look at it. You'll come to find that, well, this thing's been running for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. It's been going up. It's been continuing. Remember I say continuation plays? It's been continuing up for 6, did I say 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 or 6 days straight. So if you're thinking, oh, maybe it's going to go up tomorrow too, well, you got to think to yourself, do some research. And your research will tell you, well, maybe it won't continue up tomorrow because right here, we are starting to run into major resistance, right? So we're coming up to some price points at which the stock had reached before but didn't like and it came down. Now, these price points right here, like this price here before it came down and then right here before it came down, sure. It could have been because they had some negative news and who knows, I don't know, whatever their product is and whatever it is that they do, maybe there was some negative news. I don't know, maybe the CEO quit. I don't know, maybe they laid off 20 people. Maybe they had some news break, there was some sex scandal going on at work. Who knows, harassments, whatever, right? That could easily drive the price down on this particular stock, all right? So what we want to do is make sure that we're mapping out some of these resistance areas, right, before we go ahead and just dive into the stock, all right? So like I said before, just because you think it's going to go up, you still have to go back and do some research and look at the stock charts, map out some supports, map out resistances, so you can get a full understanding of the stock itself. But in this video, I just showed you how you too can use the scanner from finviz.com to find these potential penny stocks. So to recap that, right? Use the scanner on finviz.com, and what you're looking for is penny stocks, particularly, regarding this video, you're looking for penny stocks that have the possibility to continue running the next day. And the best opportunity or the best chance you're going to find those stocks is by looking at the ones that are starting to steadily, go up, but they're not dumping out before the end of the day. They're closing relatively close to their, or their high a day and stuff like that. So I hope you guys liked the video. Leave comments and questions in the section below and stay tuned for the next video.